Hello and welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives F1's worst cars so you don't have to, in the often desperate hunt for points. And you join us at the Hungaroring, round 11 of 2012, the Hungarian Grand Prix, after a German Grand Prix that probably could have delivered an awful lot more than we got out of it. One of those races where we moved forward, were doing really well up in the points, fighting for our lives for some points. And then we made a simple mistake, lost the front wing, fell down the order, and then also got a penalty to boot. So that's 5 of the last 6 races that we've ended with a penalty to our name. It was a drive-through that we could take, fortunately for us, while everybody else was in, so we didn't lose too many places, but we ended up coming home P16, mainly because of a couple of retirements and a couple of incidents with Jean-Eric Verne, which we were involved with both times. But them's the breaks. Sometimes in this series, it does mean, though, that we slipped to 14th in the standings after Kamui Kobayashi got an impressive 3rd in qualifying and finished 4th to catapult us. And we're still just ahead of Nico Hulkenberg, who hasn't managed to find points for a couple of rounds. At the top end of things, though, Fernando Alonso took victory ahead of Lewis Hamilton. The gap now 11 points between the top 2, with Webber having a fairly poor afternoon, finishing down, I think, in about 5th. Now he's 30 points behind Hamilton. Button falling further off as well, and Vettel retiring from his home Grand Prix means a no score, and he's still not broken 100 points. His title defence going badly so far. Grosjean and Raikkonen level on points now as Raikkonen continues to claw his way back after a poor start to the year. Rosberg in 8th, and Massa picked up a few more points. Maldonado didn't, remains 10th though. Just 5 clear of Perez and Schumacher. Then it's Kobayashi there. We are ahead of Hulk. And then Ricciardo in 16th ahead of De Resta, Verne and Senna. And then no points scored for Kovalainen, De La Rosa, Glock, Peak, Petrov and Kartikayan. I mentioned Kartikayan because if you've not watched any of 2012 and this is your first time, welcome. Go back, watch those. They're mostly painful for me, but fun for you maybe. But also, in the post-race standings, Kartikayan always shows up, but he's not going to be driving this season, so he won't score points, obviously, and won't appear in the overall Drivers' Championship. Don't know why the game's designed like that, but that's what it is. In the Constructors, we slipped to 9th a couple of rounds ago, but we're still only 2 points behind Force India, but it's McLaren who lead the way, and they're starting to pull away from Ferrari. With Red Bull down in 3rd, we might see a first-time Constructors champion in our little series, because Red Bull took the first 2. Lotus are in 3rd ahead of 4th, ahead of Mercedes, and then it's Sauber, Williams, Force India. There we are 8 still clear ahead of Toro Rosso, who are yet to score again after an early season flurry of points. But Caterham and Marussia nowhere near points and 0 to their name, and I think that's probably going to be the case for a lot of this season, if not all of it. But we come to Hungary now, over the halfway point of the season, and at the moment still look to be finishing inside the top 20 for points, but we could do with scoring a couple more. That 3rd place in Malaysia seems like such an awful long time ago, and I'm desperate to really not just finish with 1 point score like we did in 2011. Hungary hopefully won't expose our complete lack of pace too much, but I've said that before about the likes of Monaco and Hungary before last season as well, so it's going to be tough to see if we can make some places here. But let's go practice this place, run an R&D test too, and while we do, we'll talk about the 2012 Hungarian Grand Prix. The Hungarian Grand Prix was round 11 of the 2012 season, and the build-up saw the FIA investigate Red Bull for using engine maps that were potentially in violation of the technical regulations. Red Bull were cleared of any wrongdoing, but the FIA rewrote the rules on throttle mapping before the Hungarian Grand Prix. This race, on a different note, also saw Heikki Kovalainen celebrate his 100th race start. The opening practice session was a quiet affair, the only incident being Pastor Maldonado running off track to avoid Heikki Kovalainen. Both drivers, though, continued with no issues. It'd be Hamilton who led the way ahead of Button and Alonso, though the championship leader was nearly half a second behind Hamilton. The second practice session started dry, but would end in the wet. The only major instance in the dry, though, would be Grohl losing his front wing, while Perez narrowly avoided Pedro de la Rosa. When the rain came, Schumacher would crash for the second race in a row, after aquaplaning at turn 11. But Lewis Hamilton would top the times again, followed by Kimi Raikkonen's Lotus. The final practice session was a completely dry affair with no real instance at all. Webber would lead the way by session's end, followed by Hamilton and Vettel, Red Bull showing a turn of pace that had been missing on the Friday. Qualifying would once again see the traditional back six, Kovalainen leading the back marked cars just behind Daniel Ricciardo, who dropped out in Q1. Red Bull, though, would have a scare during the first part of qualifying, ending the session 16th and 17th, and just avoiding elimination. The poor pace for Red Bull, though, would continue into Q2 for at least Mark Webber, the Australian eliminated in 11th come the end of the session. He'd be joined by Schumacher, who could only manage 17th, 4 spots behind the other Mercedes of Rosberg, ending the German manufacturer's day a little earlier than planned. It would be Hamilton who took pole position ahead of the impressive Lotus of Romain Grosjean, the Frenchman taking the best qualifying position of his career in second. Vettel would take third ahead of Button and Raikkonen, the Finn underlining Lotus's pace. The race saw issues before the lights even went out. Schumacher lined up in the incorrect grid position after the formation lap. The procedure was then restarted, meaning another formation lap was required, but Schumacher would switch off his engine because the start was aborted. He'd have to be wheeled into the pit lane as the rest of the grid set off on their formation lap, meaning the race distance was also reduced by 1 lap. When the race did start, Hamilton got away cleanly while Vettel and Grosjean fought for second, allowing Button to actually take third from Vettel. Schumacher would start from the pit lane but picked up a puncture pretty much straight away. His woes would be compounded by the fact that he'd sped in the pit lane as well, so he'd also get a drive-through penalty for that. The early exchanges would be fairly instant-free, save for Glock spinning his Marussia and falling behind the HRTs at the back. Button would be the first driver to pit on lap 15, eventually triggering the rest of the leaders to do the same. After the pit stops, Grosjean would begin set fastest laps in an attempt to catch Hamilton up front, but would make some errors, kind of falling back again. Grosjean would therefore attempt an undercut, pitting a lap earlier than Hamilton, but both would have slow stops, meaning Hamilton remained ahead. Raikkonen would be the last of the top 3 to pit, jumping his teammate and attempting to chase Hamilton down, but he also couldn't find a way past the McLaren, leaving Hamilton to take victory ahead of both Lotus cars. Vettel would take 4th ahead of Alonso and Button in 5th. The points would then be completed by Senna, Webber, Massa and Rosberg. What's the aim in qualifying here then in Hungary? Well, this place has not been kind to me in F1 games even to this very day. I can never really seem to get a proper rhythm going. The one small crumb of comfort is that hopefully it won't expose our complete lack of pace, because we have literally zero. I would say, however, that we are going to struggle up against the Caterhams here. I really do seem to lack something to fight them. So the aim kind of has to be for us to try and at least beat one of them. Possibly maybe Vitaly Petrov, who tends to be the second of the pair. So let's aim for 20th place and hope that we can compete with the guys around us.
Okay, you need to come in before you run out of fuel. Pit within 2 laps. Your car's been fitted with some improved body components. You should find that there's a slight reduction in drag. It won't be easy getting out of this qualifying session, but see what you can do.
In the garage then for qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and as you saw in practice, soaking wet, so no real representative data from that one. Finished P11 in the end in practice, just because cars off, wet conditions doesn't really help, but we've got improved aero bodywork thanks to that R&D test, so hopefully that's going to help us out even here, this high downforce setup. But let's get on track where it's going to get busy quick and see if we can set a good enough time to finally get a Q1 in 2012.
That's 4th place. You've moved up to 4th.
Let's take a look at our fastest lap in Q1 quite early on in the session, so not many people have set lap times, but we're nice and tight through turn 1, but hesitant on the power. Always felt like the car wanted to just swap ends through most of the corners here. Heading into turn 2, again a little wide, but trying to use the slingshot method to get through here quickly, so we can also then line up turn 3. Heading up to the top of the hill and breaking the beam at the end of the first sector. Nearly 3/10 of a second up on our best time, but 7/10 down on the guys in front, all over the place through the next couple of corners. Heading to the chicane in the middle of the lap. Nice and early on the brakes, but no confidence to get on the power too early through the middle. Ride the curbs a little bit, and you can see our grid position is dropping like a stone. Here another section of track where we just never really felt like we were pushing hard or able to push hard without feeling like the car was going to be backwards, and we run wide there. Nearly a second up on our best time though, but 2.2 seconds off the pace of the guys up the top. So this lap is really not going to put us in any competitive ground. Got somebody trying to take a look at the inside into the penultimate corner. We block them off just so we can keep our lap going. But we come into the final corner once again, waiting to get on the power. Run a little wide as well, which compromises our exit. It's an improvement, but is it going to get us through?
You're losing a little time in sectors 2 and 3. We're off the pace today. We're 23rd on the grid tomorrow. Back row.
And the end of qualifying in Hungary, and the worst qualifying of the season. 23rd. Some 0.3 of a second off Kovalainen in 19th. Behind De La Rosa, I think, for only the second time this season, if not the first. Also behind Peak and Petrov. We out-qualified Glock, and Glock alone. But Mark Webber joins us in the drop zone, with Button and Alonso only just making it through. Traffic played a part, but not for me. I just don't have pace. I don't know what it is about the Hungaroring, but I cannot get the middle sector right. Not with any degree of speed. And we just never, ever managed to get close to our fastest time, let alone beat it. So we're going to be starting from the back row of the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix. This one's probably going to be a slog. Let's cross over to it, see if we can get it done and at least improve our starting position. Welcome then to the garage for the Hungarian Grand Prix of 2012, and as you can see, P23, a truly terrible qualifying. I think our worst ever qualifying spot in this series, and after this season there's no lower than 22nd, so it's probably going to be the low point unless we qualify 24th in the remaining rounds of this season. But as you can also see, a 62% chance of rain. So we're going to have a mixed conditions Hungarian Grand Prix, which really is not going to play into my hands whatsoever. But we'll talk about the race in a sec. Let's look at that grid order. Sebastian Vettel took pole position ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Alonso's in third, so the championship protagonists second and third. Then it's Jenson Button, Nico Rosberg, then it's De Resta and Maldonado. Great qualifying for those guys, with Grosjean, Massa and Kobayashi in behind them. Raikkonen down in 11th, Schumacher 12th, Ricciardo, good result for him in 13th. Then it's Senna, Perez, Hulkenberg and Verne, and Mark Webber dropped out in Q1 with us, probably balked by traffic, with Kovalainen, De La Rosa, Peak, Petrov. There we are, only ahead of Timo Glock's Marussia. And I don't know. Qualifying just was terrible. I just don't have any pace around this circuit, particularly the mid-sector. I struggle there for some reason. Never confident enough to be able to get on the power early enough to get more speed through the sweeping S's, which really compromised my qualifying lap and is likely to compromise my race as well. The team are only aiming for 22nd here. it's a short run into turn one. We might gain a few positions in the first few corners, as we normally do. And here it might be a little easier to hold people back. It's not a easy place to overtake, often described as Monaco without the barriers. So we might be able to hold out. But when the rain comes, because 62% suggests it's going to be fairly early doors, it's all about switching at the right time and then waiting to see if we move into full wet conditions as well, which I think is what happened at the end of Silverstone. Just trying to keep it on the road. But we saw in practice that if the rain does come and it does get wet, the AI can barely get rained here themselves. So we might be able to aim for some points. I'm not going to, though. My aim, I think, really is just to beat the other guys at the back. So we're aiming for 19th, which from 23rd on the grid is still a bit of a climb. But let's go to the grid and see what we can do in the 2012 Hungarian Grand Prix. Vettel on pole. There's Hamilton and Alonso just in behind him. There's De La Rosa, P20. There we are, way down at the back.
You qualified lower than we expected. Let's see if we can make up some places on the first lap.
The plan, Andy, is we hit the 5th round light and away we go at the Hungary. Let's see what kind of start we can get. Petrov already getting away from us. Glock's actually going to pass us and we're going to fall to 24th as we head down to turn 1. Let's try and go to the outside as Peak cuts across us. We have to sort of drift the car through a gap. Oh, and that's De La Rosa going round. Don't know whether he's clipped us or not. But we're up into P18. I think that's 16. There's Webber still trying to make his way through. He's getting held up as well. Round the Australian. We're on the outside of Ricciardo here. I'm going to have to back it off and let the Toro Rosso go. But P15. With Mark Webber behind us. Maybe not for long as we head to the chicane. No, he backs off sensibly there, I think. Now just watch everybody disappear away from us. Or not, as the case may be. They're all struggling. Tyres full tanks. Perez now behind us. Not for long, it's not though. He has to back off. Webber's gone backwards, so I don't know what's happened to him. Still in this race, as is De La Rosa, who's down at the back. And lap 1 in P15, but Harris is immediately going to make moves. The one was like the only place I could make up any time in qualifying. Gap behind Perez though.
You'll be able to use DRS when the conditions apply. DRS has been enabled.
Forces his way to a gap at the outside, but we once again just hold the Mexican off. Behind Perez, holding up a bit of the queue. I think it's a Caterham. Might be marginally quicker in race trim than the Caterhams. Perez going to have a run there. Stay to the inside. Little bump with the Mexican. And he goes off road. That'll cost him. And he can hold on to 15th. Which Perez gains in the mid-sector. Force India behind him now, so somebody has made it out of the queue behind Kovalainen. Burn back there as well. Looks like a Toro Rosso rather than a Red Bull. Why can I not turn into that corner?
Wing. He's right behind. Be aware, we think the car behind is trying to save fuel.
This time at the inside. Hulkenberg's going to try around the outside, but
Perez is slightly faster than you. He's catching you.
Perez should be able to make this work here. I think he's got through now. Going to go defensive down the hill. We're now just running wide. Get there in front of Hulk. Then where you make an overtake, but we'll force Perez wide. Managing to stay with the Mexicans once again. He's spooked wide. Hulkenberg's going to try up our inside.
With 7 places up on our predicted finish.
And Perez will fall back. I was correct, it is a Toro Rosso, which means it is Jean-Eric Vergne behind us. I don't know what's happened to Mark Webber. He's fallen behind Caterham and is in that sort of second little group as Maldonado setting fastest laps. Hamilton leads the way, good for his championship, depending on where Fernando is as Hulk goes to the outside and will, again, heavy on the brakes, on the inside, will hold off the Force India. Now it's Vergne's turn. Couple of incidents with the Frenchman last time out in Germany. Battle resumes here, way off the back of the field in 15th place. And having a look. The final couple of corners we keep him behind. He feels fairly futile. I don't really have the pace to compete with any of these guys. The Marushas, the Caterhams and the other HRT, let alone these guys up right behind me, the Toro Rossos, the Force Indias, the same buzzers.
Looks like we might have light rain in
Vergne
about 15 minutes.
Goes around the outside, there's no contact there, and Vergne is off track. And we'll retake the position. I'll have Hulkenberg to have another go. As we get told rain in 15 minutes, so it's not going to come before the pit stops as Vergne tries the switch back. And now we've got, I think, Webber and Perez at the back of this queue. A little gap back to the rest of our fellow back markers at least.
Be aware, we think the car behind is trying to save fuel.
I don't think I've even got the pace to really outmatch them today. Oh, especially not if I do that. Just about avoid ploughing into the side of Mark Webber there. And there goes Kovalainen as we try and rejoin. Rear just stepping out, the tyre already ruined. Now we'll see what little pace I've got. It's going to be a late send if I was going to go for it. He's staying roughly with Kovalainen, that's something. But these are supposed to last me another 4 or 5 laps. I don't think they've got enough in them to do that. We run wide, we lose all that time. And Kovalainen's gone. I think I'm going to have to pit now. So another set of the options, we're going to fall to last. And by quite some margin. Got nothing left on these tyres. A set of the options hopefully will last me until we hit rain. This is going to be a pretty terrible race. Uh, 24th and last. And a long way off the back of the field.
Be careful not to drive over the white line when coming out of the pits or you'll get a penalty.
A bit of clear air now, so
Your car's
just sort of
fitted
focus
with
on
the
our own
option
pace.
tyres, just one stop to go now.
As I say, hopefully these will last me out until any rain comes.
We believe the car ahead has a lot of fuel in reserve.
The car's in the pits. Timo Glock, I think one of them. There's Kovalainen.
Head Pedro
He's
is
managed
2 cars
to
in front of you.
jump me in the pit stops, but not for very long. As
It
well,
looks like we might be
go to
getting
the
light
outside.
rain in 10 minutes. Light rain.
10 minutes until light rain. We'll hold it around the outside of Kovalainen, which is the inside to the next corner. Back past the Caterham. Should, in theory, as long as we don't make a mistake, should be able to then jump Della Rosa, Peak and Petrov and get back up into P19. They're coming in this lap as well. 3 ahead don't come in. This time anyway. Does kind of look like Petrov's pulling away from him though. If I'm correct in thinking that that's Della Rosa and Peak the back 2 and then Petrov the one in front. Would make the most sense. It's going to be a battle to even claim 19th here today, I think. All wrong through there. Kovalainen is going to be all over the back of us. And we'll lose time on Della Rosa. Car's in the pits though, but far too far ahead of us. It's closing on us already. There's Kovalainen again. Once again, I don't think he's going to be close enough. Ricciardo, the man in front of us now, just where he's pit. He's now stuck behind Della Rosa and Peak. I genuinely think Petrov might get away from us.
Weather reports suggest light rain in approximately 5 minutes.
5 minutes till the rain, so that should fall in line with when our second stop would be. Vettel, the man in 21st position at the moment.
Should be pitting within the next couple of laps.
Sebastian Vettel has had an absolute nightmare somewhere, as we've got Hamilton behind us.
Good job, back up to speed now. Blue
Lose
flag,
too
no
much
longer
time, I
applied.
don't think, letting him through, but that's only going to compromise our time. Hamilton leading as he heads into the pits. I'd assume Alonso in second. Peak is in. I think Della Rosa's in as well. There we are. We move up to 19th though.
He's starting
That's
to
good.
drop back.
We'll at least manage, I think, to get back in front of Petrov. Vettel yet stays ahead of us. We've seen how off strategy with Peak, Della Rosa and Petrov. Kovalainen and Glock are as well, as we all stopped much earlier. My tyres are starting to go. Really hoping that light rain hits soon and we can think about moving to the Inters rather than having to take another pit stop. Again, the rear's ruined here.
The gap to the car behind is less than a second. Be aware he
There
may
goes
use
Kovalainen,
DRS in
just
an attempt
about.
to pass.
Got out from the underneath the back way. But we'll get him on the brakes into turn 1.
Great move, great move. It's starting to rain. It's just light at the moment, but if it worsens, we'll need to switch to inters or wets.
Don't see the visible rain yet, but it is starting, according to engineer
You're
Andy.
currently matching race pace. Good job.
Set Inter's ready. Looks like there's been an accident further back, because I can just see a clutch of cars all together. A yellow flag ain't on the mini-map as well. I was just glancing over to see where our closest rivals were, and they've all dropped way off, apart from Kovalainen. They're in the outside. Close enough to the braking point that we can just get him back. I think that's Hamilton closing up to the rear, so at least mean Kovalainen will drop back briefly. curb and we drift through there. Survive it though. Things are looking pretty bad. Where is this rain? It's already started, but there's no evidence of it yet.
We need you to make way for the car behind.
Hamilton behind us. We're going to put a lap on us. We'll stay to the inside, let the McLaren through on the outside. Have to move far enough off the racing line for them to go. Brings Kovalainen back to us.
Back up to speed. Wave blue conditions no longer apply.
They're becoming tricky. These tyres.
The pit window is open. Box this lap.
I've got the inside this time. Once again. And then brake him into turn 1. Sweet rain came to him. Still not seeing any rain. Barely getting to corners at the moment. Really don't want to have to pit in and switch to another set of dry tyres if in a lap or two's time we're going to have to move to inters anyway. Be a risk to try and extend. Straight off there. Kovalainen was moving out the way of what I couldn't see was Fernando Alonso.
He's running on full revs. He's trying to close the gap. You need to let the car behind you pass. He's not racing you for position.
Fernando Alonso through.
Pit in. Good job. Back up to speed now. Blue flag no longer applied.
Kovalainen's gone in. Nearly put it into the barrier. Managed to save it. That desperate to not pit before the rain. I don't think it's going to be raining hard enough at any point here.
We're starting to see light rain out on track. It's starting to rain.
Once again, it tells me it's raining. I see no rain. Or do we just risk it? Go on to inters.
Blue flag conditions. Let the car immediately behind through. You're not racing him.
Maldonado, the man in podium contention at the moment. We run wide to let him in. I'll take the primes. And you lose it trying to get into the pits. Petrov will go by, Della Rosa will likely go by as well. He's kind of caught up in being lapped at the moment, but he should go by. Kovalainen, I guess, as well.
Exit now.
Della Rosa only just goes by. Kovalainen won't, I don't think.
Pit exit. Watch out as you rejoin the track.
There's Della Rosa. Schumacher trying to dive up the inside and lap us.
Pit stops, so look after your tyres.
Top 10 at least by us. Let's see if we can catch Della Rosa. If it starts raining in the next 2 laps,
Okay,
I'm
we
going
need
to
you to make way for
be
the car
furious.
behind.
Again, having to just run
Keep the
offline.
car ahead under pressure. He might make a mistake. The gap is only 2
Raikkonen
seconds.
through. We've got behind us now Bruno Senna. Della Rosa kind of getting in Raikkonen's way. I'm getting in Senna's way. There's contact. We do need to let Bruno Senna through
Back up to speed.
to avoid
blue conditions no longer
getting
apply.
done for staying behind too many blue flags, but we'll just about let him through and get past Pedro Della Rosa. Kovalainen, I guess, peak for company. Petrov's far too far out in front of us now.
We think the car behind is running on full revs. He's trying to close the gap.
Petrov 20 seconds clear. Now we're starting to see rain. Worst timing. Petrov though being lapped, so the gap is rapidly coming down.
You need to let the car behind you past. He's not racing you for position.
Nearly cut Jean-Eric Byrne up there. We need to let him through. As usual, the AI not really going for any moves.
Marbles, expect reduced grip until you can wear them off. Stay on the
Jean-Eric,
line.
come on mate. We basically have to run off the road to let him through.
Good job, back up to speed now. Blue flag no longer applies.
We're going to fall to the back here as we spin.
Your front wing's taken some slight damage. Stay out unless it's causing you problems.
Cars are in, that might even be Petrov, frustratingly. Delarosa fighting hard. We're back at the inside of Charles Peak. They'll get the up and under. We'll make a bold call here. Go on to the inters now. Might be too early. Sauber were in. Right to come in. Assume we're going to fall to last.
Watch out for traffic as you rejoin the track.
Yeah, we will. Stay out ahead of Glock.
DRS due to the weather conditions.
And DRS has been disabled. We might have timed this absolutely perfectly once again. It's going to be quite treacherous out here. Still, the cars are only coming down. Going up to the cars in front, coming down to the car behind, but it's actually not going to be too long. Look at it, 2 laps down here. That is my absolute lack of power and speed here. The yellow flags are out. Let's move out of Hamilton's way. Slow first lap on the inters. Pace with Hamilton. So I think it is now time for inters. We might now be on the right tyre. We're back at the inside of the leader. As I think yellow flags are out. Cars, I think, finding themselves going off. Yellow's out again as Vettel and Ricciardo. What is Ricciardo doing there?
Taken some slight damage to the front wing. You should be okay to stay out.
He's immediately ahead of our pack though, a full lap ahead. Because we get past that little accident and, well, don't gain anything. Do lose a bit of our front wing though. More yellow flags out again. In the pits.
Keep pushing. You have a 7-second lead over the car behind.
More yellow flags out. What can we regain here? Can we regain anything?
There are quite a few cars in the pits right now. Watch out for cars exiting the pits.
Back up to 22nd. Charles Peak has jumped us. He's right there. Defensive. In front as well.
Okay, wet tyres for next box.
Go round the outside of Charles Peak there. Feel like this is going to become wet conditions quickly.
Okay, we need you to make way for the car behind.
Peak getting in the way of a Red Bull. And that's Sebastian Vettel. On a bit of a back. after his incident. Look at the queue in front of us.
You need to let the car
It's all a
behind
bit
you
of a mess
pass.
up
He's not
ahead.
racing you for position. Our data's showing that the car ahead's likely to be running in fuel
Webber.
conservation mode. His times will be slightly slower
Webber's
than
down in
normal.
13th. There's Kovalainen. Hulkenberg in front of him. Hey, I really don't know how to drive these conditions. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. Lift back right off to let him through, and he runs wide still. Charles Peak gets through. Not for long, though. Oh, we lose the rail.
Blue flag conditions. Let the car immediately behind through. You're not racing him.
There goes Pedro. This is full wet conditions now, I think.
Okay, we need you to make way for the car behind.
We've got another accident up ahead, and again it's Pedro de la Rosa. As soon as it rains, it's carnage.
That's 20 seconds. You're up to 20 seconds.
That Schumacher through as well.
You need to let the car behind you past. He's not racing you for position.
Got no grip. De la Rosa goes through again. De la Rosa's going in. I'd rather sit behind him and get the wet tyres on. We've got cars in. This race has turned into absolute carnage at the end. We're going to have to sit and wait. Come on, man. There we go. New front wing was on. Glock's going to go by. Are we going to get lapped by Vitaly?
Go now.
I don't know what's happening anymore. We're coming 23rd.
You're free to rejoin the track. The track is clear.
This is going to be a pretty terrible result, but I feel like there's still enough time for there to be some more carnage.
The tyres and brakes are running at optimal temperatures.
We're going to go 2 down now. Yep, there's Lewis.
Blue flag conditions. Let the car immediately behind
Road,
through.
and back
You're not
right
racing
off
him.
to let the McLaren through. He's struggling. Look,
Trailing you by 5 seconds.
look how badly Hamilton's struggling. They are absolutely destroying the gap to Pedro. Tough because we've only got like 3 laps left to do it. Oh no, we're not going to catch him now. I think we might even finish behind Glock here.
Front wing's taken some slight damage. Stay out unless it's causing you problems.
A dismal race this has been. Qualifying was terrible. The race has been just as bad.
Okay, we need you to make way
Don't
for the
like
car
Hungary
behind.
to move off the road, let Jensen Button through. I just don't like this place. I'm no good around it. Yellow flags out now. AI are going to be having their own incidents, I'm sure. 'Cause
Someone's gone off in sector 2.
the weather-
We have waved yellows in sector 2.
soon, like. It's Fernando Alonso behind us.
You need to let the car behind you past. He's not racing you for position.
Coming through.
You're 5 seconds behind Glock. Keep it up. He might make a mistake.
Maldonado off the podium, but still in the top 4.
Blue flag conditions. Let the car immediately behind through. You're not racing him.
Going off the road once again to let another car through, this time Nico Rosberg. And we're on to our penultimate lap because we're 2 laps down. barely able to get any throttle on. Wide into turn 1 to try and let Grohl through.
There's only 4 seconds gap between you and the car ahead. Keep pushing.
We might now, though. I think Glock has just...
We're faster than the car ahead in sector 3.
That's with
See if we can
Grohl.
use that to our advantage.
Still trying to let him pass. Still trying to let him pass around the final corner, so let's at least see if we can finish ahead of Glock as we start our final lap of the race. It's been a fairly terrible one.
Okay,
We've got a blue flag as well as Glock moves to defend or to move off the racing line to let Ricciardo through. We just about get past, so the 23rd. We've got to slow up and let Ricciardo through. Come on, Daniel. Yeah. It's going to give Glock a run up the hill. It's going to take that as well. And we'll hold it around the outside. We've had a poor qualifying. Started down in 23rd. Lose the rear. We've made a few mistakes like that. That exact mistake is one we've made as well. Trying to anticipate the weather conditions. Couldn't do it. Blue flag for Felipe Massa as the checkered flag is waving. That's that Felipe through. And we do. I'm going to take a punt and say Lewis Hamilton's at the victory. Well, we've got another blue flag. It is Lewis Hamilton. We almost collect Raikkonen for a second time today. Let Raikkonen through just as Glock's right there. We need to get around this last corner. Come home with fairly disappointing 23rd place. The second worst result of Blue Flag Bandits after the 24th place we suffered in Australia back at the start of this season. We finished 23rd and 2 laps down. Just a terrible race weekend all round, but not as bad as Red Bull, I guess, in terms of where they should be. We only managed to beat Timo Glock, while at the top end of things, Lewis Hamilton takes a victory ahead of Jenson Button. Alonso, his championship rival, there in 3rd, with Maldonado an incredible 4th, and it's Rosberg, Grosjean, Massa, Raikkonen, Di Resta and Verne. So we're going to have Toro Rosso closing and Force India pulling away. Schumacher's 11th ahead of Perez, Webber down in 13th, and it's Hülkenberg, Kobayashi, Senna. Vettel finishes a lap down in 17th. No idea what happened to him. There's Ricciardo, then it's Petrov, Peak, Kovalainen, De La Rosa, Arcels and Timo Glock. What does that do to the driver's stand-ins? Fernando Alonso now leads by a single point from Lewis Hamilton. Button is 53 back, Webber 56 back. Vettel now nearly 100 points off the lead of the championship. I feel like that title defence is already done and dusted. Grosjean jumps ahead of Raikkonen with Rosberg in 8th, Massa 9th, Maldonado stays in 10th and is pulling further away from Perez and Schumacher. Kobayashi's 13th, we hold 14th ahead of Hülkenberg. Di Resta now moves into 16th ahead of Ricciardo, Verne and Senna. Kovalainen, De La Rosa, Glock, Peak, Petrov, Carter Kayan, all without points. In the Constructors, McLaren lead the way by 70 points ahead of Ferrari, Red Bull 93 back, with Lotus 4th. Then it is Mercedes, Sauber, Williams, Force India now 4 clear of us, while Toro Rosso move to within 7. And Caterham and Russia still yet to score. And well, Hungary, terrible. Just terrible. The qualifying really set us up for a bad day. And it never really got any better. We tried to we did try our absolute best to kind of read the conditions, try and move to the right tyres at the right times, and hope that, you know, we could pull back some time on that. But the intermediate period was so short. We rinsed through our options too quickly, so we had to make an extra stop. We damaged, spins, just overall a terrible time in Hungary, really. And there's only 2 more European reigns left for HRT before we have our flyaway end of the season, and then that's it. HRT exists no more. But it's Belgium next, somewhere we can hopefully have a better time of it, unless, of course, the conditions do that again, which it's Belgium, so there's a distinct possibility they will. But thank you so much for watching this one. Not been the best time for me, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. I shall see you all for the next one in Belgium. Take care. Bye for now.